for your leadership of the Republican Party of Sauk County. First of all, I want to tell you, the United States of America is a country that welcomes immigrants when they follow the process and when they come here legally. I know that because I have been through the process, and so has my mother. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people get green cards, or as it's called, the permanent residency to be in the United States. And every year, hundreds of thousands of people become naturalized United States citizens. So we have a very strong system, and lots of people from all over the world, different races, religion, creed, they are coming to the United States and they are becoming Americans by following the law, by following the rules. So I'll talk a little bit about my story. So I am originally from Bangladesh. How many of you know where Bangladesh is? It's a country, very small country, in South Asia, but a population of over 160 million people. It's a lot of people in a country very small. And so if you look at the list of the most spoken languages in the world, in the top 10, you're going to find Bengali, just because of the number of people in Bangladesh, and Bengali speakers spread all over the world. So I grew up in a system that's very different, because Bangladesh has a system of government that's patterned after the British system. So they have a parliamentary form of government, and they have a prime minister. So I grew up. Now, when people come to the United States, from whichever part of the world you're coming from, there are new things that you have to learn. Some people have greater challenges than others. And one of the challenges you commonly hear about is the language barrier, okay? People coming from overseas, they don't understand English very well, or they speak it but not very fluently. Now, fortunately, I did not have that barrier. That's because the schools that I went to, they were all English medium schools. So from my very childhood, I went to schools that provided all instruction in English. So math, science, anything, you name it, all subjects were delivered in English. And as a matter of fact, the rules were so strict. The school did not want to see any students speaking in Bengali as long as they were on school premises, unless it was a Bengali class, it was a Bengali period, and then you speak in Bengali. And so fortunately, I did not have that language barrier when I came to the United States. But my challenge was a little different one. So when I came to US, now I told you, British curriculum, British system of governance in Bangladesh. So guess what? I come to the US and now I have to change all my spellings, not all, but a lot of them, from the British spellings to the American ones. So for words like favor, labor, color, I got rid of the U's. And of course I made other changes. I was at a mall one day, and I asked one of the customer service associates, "Where's the lift?" And she was looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, the elevator. I'm looking for the elevator." So I had to make those changes, but it was a lot of fun, along the way. And when I would use some British terms and people were a little confused, I had to change this. It's all fine now. So that was a challenge I faced. But there was another challenge, a more serious one that I faced, which was understanding the US healthcare system. Now,
Still a problem.
Now, in the country of origin, in Bangladesh, my family is in pharmaceuticals. And my maternal grandfather was a businessman, not in pharmaceuticals, but he was very much involved with doctors and hospitals. He supported philanthropic causes by, just because he was into it. He supported many causes. many of them in the healthcare field. And accessing healthcare services in Bangladesh was not an issue. So when I came to the US, the first problem was, I did not know what a deductible was, co-insurance, copay, and the reason for that is in Bangladesh, the healthcare system is an out-of-pocket model.
There you go.
Now, there are other forms of insurance, for your property, for your life, but there was no health insurance. Now, maybe things are changing, I don't know. I haven't been there in many years. So when I came to the US, understanding health insurance was one of the biggest challenges I faced. What does a deductible mean? What's the co-insurance? What's copay? What's out-of-pocket max? Now, I had to figure out health insurance for myself, but I also had to figure out health insurance for my mother. And so I started doing research on the internet to learn more about the system. And what that ended up doing is I said, you know what, I'm going to take a healthcare policy class at UW-Madison where I was doing my undergrad. To go back a little bit, I came to the US in 2007 as an adult, came here, got the green card, so became a permanent resident, and I had already completed 1 year of college in Bangladesh. So I was coming to the US as a new immigrant, green card holder, and also transferred my credits to UW-Madison to continue from my sophomore year. So I said, you know what, I have to understand the healthcare system, and so I took a class at UW-Madison. One thing leads to another. I completed my undergrad, enrolled in my master's program at UW. I have a master's degree in public policy and in public affairs. And I focused on healthcare policy for my master's. And in my career so far, that led me to a job at the Wisconsin Medical Society. Then United Way of Dane County, Wisconsin Legislative Council, UW Population Health Institute, Wisconsin Department of Health Services. So I just just got involved in healthcare policy, and it was that one challenge. Like, I don't understand the healthcare system, I have to learn it. And it took me down a path. I'm going to get involved in healthcare policy. So people ask me, why Wisconsin? So just going back a little bit. 2007, I'm an adult, and we found out that we're getting the immigrant visa. We will come to the United States. So my parents gave me the option to pick any place in the United States that I wanted to go to settle down, for college, to live. And I said, there are a couple of things I'm going to focus on. First, I want to be in a colder climate. I'm not a fan of humidity and all that. Okay? I mean, I understand ice and snow are inconvenience, but it's just good for my health. Humid place, I would solve. And I wanted to be close to water, but not in one of the coasts. I don't like the hurricanes and then Wisconsin has many lakes, so I'm close to water. And then the other one was, a good college, a good university. And I did apply to over a dozen colleges, and I got accepted in several of them. But I picked UW-Madison, I picked Wisconsin. And I saw, I grew up in a very populated country, in a big city. I wanted to go to a place where, it's not as populated, but it's not far from the big cities. We're close to Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, but then you have all the things you need in Madison and in the surrounding areas. You have access to Great Lakes, the beautiful countryside, and this was just perfect for me. And so I picked UW-Madison. And I've been here since. And so, going back to the immigration, the process of immigration, it's a very rigorous process for anybody, a foreign national, to say, I want to go to the United States, I want to migrate. You may have to wait for years you may have to go through lots of background check, lots of paperwork, and it's expensive. And then if you're fortunate, like we were, to get the immigrant visa, you come and you're a green card holder now. And what does it mean to be a green card holder? You have all the rights and privileges of a US citizen, except that you cannot vote because you're not a citizen. And also there are certain jobs in federal government that you don't qualify for because those are only for US citizens. Now, what I want to highlight is, even when you are a green card holder, there are many responsibilities, many things that you have to follow. For example, if you're a green card holder in the United States, every time you have a change of address, you have to notify the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services within 10 days of your move. If you willfully do not notify them, then there are legal consequences for that. From the point you become a green card holder to becoming eligible for citizenship, there are many requirements. You have to be in the United States for a certain number of years. You have to follow the law. You have to have good record, good behavior. And I grew up, one thing that my mom taught me is the number one thing in life, you always have to follow the law. It's number one. Always follow the law. When you become eligible for citizenship, there's a long process that you have to go through to become a citizen. For example, you have to take a biometric exam. You have to learn US history and take a civics test. You have to take an English language test. You have to go through an interview. And then you also have to pay the fees to US government. But in addition, you may also have to hire an attorney to help you navigate through the process. Now, and most importantly, you have to be patient. If you look at the citizenship application, there are so many questions on it. For example, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact question, but there's a question that says, have you ever been arrested, cited, detained by a law enforcement officer? Now let's say you've never been arrested, never been detained, but you have a traffic citation. What do? I had a traffic citation. I had to answer yes, go to the municipal court, get the certified copies that I have paid my dues and what my violation was, and submit that with my application to the US government. And they ask you if you've ever been associated with the Communist Party, have you ever failed to pay alimony or child support, have you ever been a habitual drunkard? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so to be able to answer all those questions, and including how many days you spent outside the United States in the last 5 years. So in order to answer those questions, you have to be a law-abiding citizen, you have to be a law-abiding individual, you have to maintain all the records of what you did, and you have to report under the penalty of perjury. You have to report everything accurately. And then if everything goes well, congratulations, you get notified that you are to report to such and such location on such and such date and time for your oath of allegiance to become a US citizen. So, is the process long? Yes, it's long. Is it difficult? Yes. But that's exactly how it should be. Because if you want to make sure that the people you are allowing to enter the United States are good people, law-abiding individuals. Before you grant them citizenship, you want to make sure that they have not been in violation of laws, they have good moral character, they are good people. And then you grant them citizenship. The process is long, the process is difficult, but at the end of the process, you become the citizen of the greatest country in the world. Yeah. So, 2014 was a major year in my life. I became a US citizen, my mother became a US citizen, and I started working for the best senator in the United States.
We elect Ron Johnson.
Thank you.
He needs to run again.
I will convey the message to him. I will do so, believe me. So, the United States of America embraced me, embraced my mother. The United States of America embraces thousands and thousands of people from all over the world who are coming here legally, following the process, and becoming a part of this great country. And so, what I feel in my life is that my goal in whatever I do in my life, my goal is to help people. My goal is, at every step, I want to do something for this country. Because this country has embraced me, and for the rest of my life, at every step, at whatever I do, I will try to make sure that I'm doing something for the United States of America, which I'm proud to call my home, my country. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to share my story. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I don't know if you have time for questions now, but I will be here. I will be here after the event, and I'll answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be at the bar. So, isn't that a